Hey everyone, the Talking Dads podcast is brought to you by Little Scholars Early Learning Center. Whether your family needs infant care, a preschool program, or before and after school care, Little Scholars' highly rated Step Up to Quality programs provide quality early childhood education at an affordable price. Visit www.littlescholars.net to get in contact with an enrollment specialist and schedule a tour of any of their 5 Lake County campuses. Here's the deal. Talking Dads fans are getting a little bonus. Mention that you heard about them through our podcast, and when you tour, and you'll receive $25 off of your registration fee. Again, that's Little Scholars Early Learning Center, where children learn, play, and grow together.
In a world where moms continue to dominate parenting authority and a father's role is minimized in society, 2 dads take on the toughest parenting topics on a weekly basis, all while drinking bourbon. They are the Talking Dads.
What's up, everyone? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Talking Dads. This is episode number 30. I am Ian, and over on my right we have Steve, and in the middle here we have a very honored guest today, Mr. Jimmy Hanlin, 4-time Emmy Award winner, PGA Tour professional, Fox Sports Ohio host. You can go through all of your amazing accolades. Actually, what we do first is we like to ask our guests to provide a dad profile for us. So if you could, take a few minutes, just talk about who you are, your family, things like that.
You can mention everything that you're on and everything that we missed, because it's a lot.
I feel like I'm sitting between you guys. I'm hosting the show right now.
Well, hey, you know,
I do a lot of this little middle stuff thing.
Well, we like to, front and center.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like it. Good stuff. So yeah, I am a father. I have 2 boys. Which people seem to think that their names are interesting. Hogan and Palmer, which fit into the golf world. Absolutely. There for you.
Makes sense.
Palmer's 12 years old and Hogan is 15 years old. So that is all good. And divorced. So I've been divorced for a long time. Happily have had a girlfriend for a long time. Ashley Collins. She's wonderful. Spent a lot of time with Ashley. And
wonderful.
You guys both know Ashley. And so... that's about it. My world in television. I do a couple national golf shows in television, which is 18 Holes and the Swing Clinic, and they're televised in about 75, 80 million homes across the country on all the Fox Sports regional networks. I do some local television shows here, a show called Pin Shot, which is kind of like a fun par 3 show. You like that?
Love that show.
Do that with Tony Rizzo. Tony Rizzo is so much fun to work with, guys. I could do a whole show on Tony Rizzo and working with him.
He seems like an awesome guy.
He's wonderful. And my favorite show that I do of all is a show called Links to the Game. And Links to the Game is a show where I go and play with different celebrities and coaches from the Ohio market and whatever. Did one with Freddie.
You guys
Kitchens.
did one with Freddie, because I was watching that one actually not too long ago.
Yeah,
it was on in the middle of the night when my daughter was awake.
I'm a lot of middle of the night TV a lot of times. And I do. I did one with recently with Archie Griffith and Clark Kellogg, which was amazing.
Wow.
A good Buckeye one. So that's been a lot of fun. Tito Francona was probably my favorite one we've ever done. Tito's one of my favorite people that I've ever worked with in television. So that's it. I also work for iHeartRadio. I do a weekly golf show in the golf season on WTAM, which is the big sports kahuna here in Cleveland, which hosts Cleveland Indians and Cavs basketball too. So I do that. And then obviously my day-to-day job is, besides the television stuff, is I have a couple golf courses here in Cleveland, Little Mountain and Stonewater. So I spend a lot of time at both of those. So I have too many jobs. The key to that whole conversation.
Busy man.
That's good, though. Busy is good.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, all good. So that's me in a nutshell right there, I guess.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah. So I want to correct you a little bit. You said one of your favorite thing that you're on was Which one did you say was your favorite?
Links to the Game is my favorite show.
Your new favorite, though, is the Talking Dads.
Yeah, absolutely. You can be
but I'm only a guest there.
Well, for now, we'll see how this goes. I know you're looking for another job, so.
Yeah, I need another job. I'm in.
Yeah, you're not busy enough.
I mean, you guys officially booted my friend Paul Markell. He came in tonight with us, just so everybody knows.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thought he was going to be on air with us, and these two deflated him, and he walked out with a tear in his eye.
Yeah.
He went to the grocery
We had
store.
plans for Paul, but that was going to be the
Well, so
next
he got
one.
we got a little bit of confusion there because we do outside of our regular podcast, we do bourbon reviews.
Right, yes,
we like
yes.
bourbon a lot. And,
Yep.
Paul was fortunate enough to win a bottle of Elijah Craig
Yep.
at our live event back in, when was that, July?
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever it was.
Shortly after he won, Elaine, she dropped it and shattered it all over the
Shattered
She did?
everywhere.
Oh,
It
I
was
didn't know
epic.
that
I
story.
mean, we could just smell bourbon everywhere.
Yeah, like
I'm
we
what
like
happened?
finally took a break and we're like,
Oh,
what the hell happened?
Elaine's
You know?
like, oh.
Elaine Planasek?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She's
She
a
was- she
dropper.
felt really bad about it.
Believe me, there's a lot of broken bottles when you hang out with Paul at the
That's
end of the night.
that's 100%
The
fair.
funny thing is, it wasn't his fault though.
Yeah,
Right.
that's rare.
Well, no, he gave it to Elaine so that he wouldn't drop it.
Yep, he was being responsible.
Well, I think Paul thought he was going to be on Talking Dads because
Right.
early in my dad career, when I was at Little Mountain, Paul worked for us at Little
Yeah.
Mountain there. And he, just unfortunately for him, got thrown right into taking care of my kids when I would have to run out on a golf course and the boys would be there. And Paul has changed a few of my boys' diapers, taking them fishing. He's done a lot
and I'll
of
say this
the
about
early
Paul.
dad things.
Paul is a great uncle.
Yeah.
Great, he's awesome with kids.
Yeah.
and
I remember
he's oh yeah.
when
he
my
had
son
experience
was
with them.
born, so this was probably like 4 years ago. When my son was born, it was one of the first times where the boys went out, or I went out with them.
Interesting.
And so my wife was like, yeah, go have a good time. Get back at like 3 o'clock in the morning or something like that. And, my wife's standing there when we opened the door with my couple-month-old son.
Yeah.
Good luck.
And I'm in no condition to parent at this point.
Yeah.
And so yeah, Paul stepped up though and like took care of my kid like all night long while I was passed out on the couch. Like he's
He's
taking
good, Dad.
selfies and shit like that.
Yeah.
No, he's good for that.
Him rocking my
He's
kid.
awesome.
So
Yeah.
Paul's the man.
Paul's fantastic. We definitely want to
love
have him on for the bourbon review.
Maybe you
And
need
then,
a Talking Dads to be because he will be a dad.
We know.
I
he
cannot
will.
wait.
I know he's.
Yeah.
For sure. We could. I mean, we
He's
could definitely.
definitely
We're definitely planning on having him on, and I think with the bourbon review. But yeah, Dad to Be episode.
Yeah, he's that's going to be him for sure.
Yeah,
So,
100%.
Speaking of the devil.
so
Yeah, there he
speaking of
comes.
he's come. I
He's
thought he
coming
left
back.
for the night, but he came back.
He was
But,
pouting a little bit. So, so your boys, are they? And I assume they are. Are they big golfers then?
Absolutely not. Actually.
Really?
Neither of my boys play golf. I don't. So I live right at Little Mountain on the golf
Yeah.
course.
Mm-hmm.
So they can walk 50 feet out their back door and walk onto the golf course, and neither one of them ever play any golf.
Yeah.
Like my youngest is very athletic, so he'll go out, go down to the range, just hit balls, because he can, because he's he kind of picks up everything. He's pretty good at it. My oldest is kind of more the smarter, geeky kid, where he's not very athletic. But he is just he has no interest in it at all, like
Nothing.
none. So poor kid's named Hogan, and he's never
Right.
going to play golf.
Right.
My other kid's named Palmer, and he's never going to play
Yeah.
golf. But so it's one of those things where it's really strange. I get that question, obviously.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And they just don't. I have my youngest Palmer is a good athlete, plays basketball, plays baseball, and very good at both. Where my oldest, he goes to ISTEM, which is, I don't know if you guys are familiar with ISTEM, it's science, technology, engineering, math. He's very into it too. Like not only does he go there, he really enjoys it.
That's awesome.
That's very cool.
So he's a freshman and he's good at it. And they're both kind of artistic a little bit. So they're both, they both enjoy, but it's not our kind of artistic. Like I'm not artistic at all,
Yeah,
but it's
I'm
not
the same.
picking up a piece of paper and drawing.
Yeah.
It's, drawing
Creating.
on computers with,
Right.
what I don't even know the Adobe subscriptions that I pay for a month to be able to like draw cartoons
Right.
and do all this kind of stuff.
And that's a good thing to be into.
It's
for
very
sure.
good, and that's
it's
what they're
huge.
into, and they love it. And obviously, every kid you guys will see as your kids get older, they're all into gaming and all that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
But
Right.
it's funny, and I don't know, with what you guys go through, but my kids are completely opposite. My oldest kid he's 5'10", 210, a little bit on the chubby side, not athletic, but really outgoing, wakes up happy every morning.
Yeah.
Just a, just that's,
Yeah.
he's just a happy kid, right? My youngest kid, he's 12, he's thin, hasn't hit that growth spurt yet, and he's very athletic, pretty much picks up any type of any sport, and he can do it right away. He's really good, and he's pissed off at the world as soon as he wakes up every day. As soon as he wakes up, he's bitching about something every day. So they're complete. Not only are they just opposites in the athletic and the build, but also in the personality.
Yeah, and I mean, I could vouch for that. Like my sons are, my son's 2 and the other one's 4. So I mean, but I can already see the difference in them. And not only the way they act and their attitudes, but the way they look. Like my oldest son, he looks nothing like me. I'm not even sure if he's mine. And then my youngest looks identical to me. Like
they do have tests that you can do.
I thought about it. I would keep looking at my mailman when he walks by, and I'm
he's
like,
not blonde, is he?
He is.
If he's blonde, you got problems, dude. Damn it! I mean, really,
it's getting darker.
It's getting darker.
Now I'm starting to understand why Paul Markell hangs around you guys so much.
We always make that joke to him, like it's either his or Arco's. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Oh, that's amazing.
Around, you know?
Yeah, but
it's
it's pretty crazy. It's crazy how they can be that different.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Well, yeah, because it's one of those things, and we've talked to several guests before who kind of alluded to the same thing, and it's like you raise your kids pretty much the same way. Why do they turn out to be, and it's just, I don't know if it's DNA or what it is, but, everyone's different, and I think that's one of the challenges of being a father is trying to stay in tune with each of your kids, because it can be difficult because like I know with my son and my daughter, like what works for my son will absolutely not work for my daughter. You know what I mean? So I got to figure that out. And so that's always fun to challenge. Yeah. Right. So since they're not into golf, was that so when you, I guess when they were younger, was it more that you made a conscious effort not to force it on them? Because I know a lot of people that do something specific will say, well, I'm not going to force my kids to be like me. I'm not going to force my kids to whether it's baseball or it's usually in sports. But so was that a concerted thing that you wanted to shy away from, or did you try and push it on them and they just didn't take to it?
Well, I think, and you'll see it as you get older with your boys, but it's like when you're a young father, all you want your kids to be, if you were an athlete, is athletic. I mean, like I didn't even play college golf, so I played college basketball. I played a lot of baseball all the way up into college myself, and played golf competitively through those times. But so my whole life was athletics. That's all I did. I mean, that was my life. So when my first kid came along, Hogan, it was like, all I thought about was what sport was he going to play and what's he going to do, right?
Right.
Well, as we got into it, and he started out in baseball, right? And he, as all kids do, they start playing when they're young baseball. And he could really hit. Like, this kid could, like, just pound a baseball, right? And I'm like, oh, man, this is just great, right? It's perfect. Well, then we got into, like, when he was 8 or 9, and then, like, he never, like, turned the glove over to be able to catch. Like, kids are throwing to him. He's still going like this. I'm like, dude, he's going to get killed, right? And he just never, ever really figured it out or picked it up.
Yeah.
So then you start to think to yourself, oh, my God, like, I just want a kid that's athletic. Well, what I figured out was that my older kid, like, he's just like, I could spend every day with them, right? Like, I go to parent-teachers conferences, and they're like, your son has this sense of humor that is like a 30-year-old, like not like a 12-year-old. Like teachers are like, we get his jokes. Like, some of the kids don't get his jokes. We get, like, he's a funny kid. Like, he's the kid that would like do like the announcements at school, and like he's just that kid. He's outgoing, he's
assertive. Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, like, this is the kid I want to hang out with when I'm like older at the bars, like he's fun, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So at the point now, it's like, I don't even care if he plays sports.
Right.
Like, in fact, I'll be honest with you, sometimes I almost prefer it, because it's like we spend more time together on that level of doing that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Where my other kid's completely opposite. I mean, like I got home today, he's like, Dad, let's go to the Y. Let's go shoot it, whatever the sport of the time is.
Yeah.
Sure.
So you'll see it, and it's like, that fulfills me a little bit, because obviously I like the athletic stuff. I coach. In fact, tomorrow morning, probably hungover, I'm going to we'll be coaching. I coach Riverside's travel basketball team, so the 6th grade.
Okay.
So I'll coach their team tomorrow. So I'll be there, because I can do that in the winter, because I don't. Golf's a little slower for us. So it is a very big difference for me of how to. But you figure it out pretty quickly. I think if you're a good person and you're a good dad, you figure out pretty quickly that, like, they're going to be who they are. So just give them the opportunity to flourish during that.
Exactly.
I'm glad you said that, because
sense,
we've had that conversation before, actually with DJ and him talking about his kids wrestling and everything. He was a big time wrestler. He's a MMA fighter now and everything. And he was like, oh, it broke my heart when my because he has twin boys. And he's like, the one decided he doesn't want to wrestle anymore. It broke my heart. But then, you just let him go. And I guess he's wrestling again now.
He's back, so it doesn't matter.
He's all happy again.
And that is a great.
But that's
point,
it's got to be a hard thing to do.
Sure. For sure. I mean, you want your kids to do what you want them to do, but like you said, let them flourish and let them do what they want to do, and they're going to be happy that way.
Right. Well, and I think the quickest way to be unhappy is to try and live vicariously through your kids and then have it be disappointing.
And I feel like you see that a lot.
Yeah.
And you see that as a coach. I coached baseball at the high school level, and I saw a lot of kids that didn't want to be there.
Right.
But their parents were like very involved, and they were like, they really wanted their kids to be there. They wanted their kids to. I mean, they're the people spending all the money.
Right.
And almost forcing their kids to be there. And you could tell their kids are kind of miserable. So it's like...
It's crazy. So I saw it before I had my kids because of golf, right?
Yeah.
So I see these people that spend so much money and they just push their kids to do what they want them to do. And they become so burnt out, So I'll give you a good example. So again, we're in the Riverside district. So, when we started a travel program, I think there were 50 kids that tried out in third grade, right? Now, this last year, in sixth grade, so it's 3 years later, there still were 39 kids trying out for the basketball team, right? Wow. So there's a lot of kids still trying to play basketball.
Yeah.
But you'll watch, by the time they get to freshman, sophomore, junior, I'm watching these kids at Riverside now. I'm talking to one of the coaches, Craig Young, and they'll have 4 or 5 kids in a class. Because you know what? These kids get burnt out.
Yeah.
They grow up a little bit. They get sick of their parents telling them, you got to do it this way, and you got to be this, and you got to do it that way. And it's crazy. And I see it in golf all the way from the smallest level to the highest level. I've seen players. Listen, I'm 48 years old, so I'm about, I think I'm 6 or 7 years older than Tiger. So I watched Tiger as a younger. I've been to golf tournaments with Tiger. I'm Phil's age. I've been to golf tournaments, Phil, and I've watched people flourish, and I've watched them have major problems, as youngsters, and there's a guy named Ty Tryon, and you guys are too young and wouldn't remember golf, but Ty Tryon was Tiger at 16, 17, and 18. This kid was just couldn't miss, right? David Ledbetter grabbed him. This kid was going to be, he was before Tiger. He was going to be Tiger before Tiger. Right. He was Tiger, right? And man, all this pressure and all this stuff, and the kid, you guys never heard of him, so obviously,
never heard of him, yeah.
And I can't tell you how many times I could tell you that story in the world of golf. Michelle Wee basically came that, and I'm sure you guys have heard of Michelle Wee. Yeah. So Michelle Wee became that person too. I spent a lot of time with Michelle Wee. I actually went to the Tiger Phil match last year. I don't know if you guys remember.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I was right there. So Natalie called me on Thanksgiving Day. She goes, "I got a ticket. You got to get here tomorrow." So I jumped on a plane. There.
That's awesome.
So we get there, and so I spent a lot of time with Natalie's crew, and Michelle Wee was one of them. She's just a kid, She's 32 years old.
Yeah.
They're out there drinking, doing shots, dying because they get to see Tiger right in front of them. You know what I mean? And they're just kids.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. But
that's crazy. But yeah, I think kind of how you said, all the pressure and everything that's expected, and I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, but what I see, I remember in junior high and everything, you could go out and play every single sport. You could play 5 sports, have no problem, and there was time to do everything.
Yeah.
Now it seems like, and just talking to the friends with older kids and stuff like that, you almost have to choose what you're going to play because it's all year round. It's constant practices. It's constant film studies. It's constant, weight room stuff and all that kind of stuff. It's just burnout,
Well, yeah. And the coaches do it to them too. I mean,
100%.
You see it on a high school level.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
They want these kids to focus on these sports right now and just focus on one sport. It's so good to be a multi-sport athlete. Sure. I mean, it's just it helps you so much from a standpoint. I got your great next guest, by the way.
Okay.
Ricky Stanzi. Have you guys had Ricky on yet?
No, I'd love to have Ricky on.
Ricky's a home run. He's got 3 kids now.
Yeah.
He
really?
He lives right here. He lives he could walk to it.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. 3 kids. I don't know if Lauren's going to let him out of the house. But
it's always a good excuse.
Yeah. But Ricky trains young kids now. So what we're talking about right now, Ricky can give you guys the insight of.
That's awesome.
How this is all coming down with parents and stuff. But it's so crazy. It's so nuts, the pressure that kids put in. And again, you guys are younger than I am, but my dad dropped me off at practice and came back 2 hours later. Now, when I coached the Riverside travel team, all 8 parents are sitting there watching practice for an hour and a half, 2
I remember
hours.
riding my bike to practice.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And then have my bag on my back.
Yeah, it's there's so much pressure on these young kids to not even be good, just to want to play.
Why do you think this is, though? Why do you think it's gone that way? It was because the money that's in athletics, that everyone thinks that their kid's going to be their ticket to financial freedom, or is it because
or they just didn't,
you're worried about kids,
younger?
Staying inside, or you're worried about kids getting into trouble, and so you force everything on, and you have to go 100 miles a minute? Why do you think parents and coaches do that now?
I think it's more because the world is now instead of in the future. So we all know right now, now you can see success in athletics. You and I could be sitting there at the bar and talking about, you're like, hey, my kid has a 4.1. Oh, great. So does mine. Hey, my kid scored 32 in the basketball game last night. Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like that.
That's pretty cool,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So but at the end of the day, and again, that's how I look at my son Hogan. He's like, okay, now he's not going to have his name in the paper for scoring 32 in a basketball game, but he's probably going to make more money than I ever dreamed of making in my life because he's already driven at 15 years old.
Right.
He's already, so it's I think parents are so in the now of what they want to just say how great their kids are and how.
Yeah. Well, the keeping up with the Joneses has become kids.
Right.
Look at my kid. Look at my kid. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily look at what car I'm driving anymore, but hey, my kid got into Stanford or whatever.
Yeah. It's hurt golf. I'll be honest with you,
Yeah.
because think of it this way. So back when I was growing up, my dad didn't play golf, and my dad worked in the steel mills, and my mom was a nurse, but the whole country club world or the whole golf world, guys played golf on Saturdays and Sunday mornings, right?
Yeah.
You can go to Little League baseball games or practice or whatever. It was there was one coach, he coached them, and everybody else, the guys play golf, right?
Right.
Now, you know what they do? They all go to the game.
Yeah.
They're all going to. You never miss a kid's game ever. Oh my God, it would be the worst thing you could ever
Yeah.
do.
I coached my kid's t-ball
Crazy.
team this year.
Yeah.
So he's 4. It was his first year, and I was like, yeah, I'll coach. I got some time that I can do it and everything. And every single parent was mom, dad, usually some grandparents there saying, oh, well, he's got to do this, he's got to do that. I'm like, listen, these kids are
4 years old.
I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to keep them organized right now and let them have some fun.
I don't remember how our games were when we were young at baseball, at 8 years old. I went to my niece's game this year. It was insane.
Oh, it's crazy.
People are crazy.
It's crazy. Well, let me ask you this. So from a basketball standpoint, because I'm a big basketball guy, when's the last time that you drove down the road, and looked over and saw a blacktop full of kids playing hoops?
No kids. I've seen older people there.
Ever, right? It doesn't
Never.
exist.
That's not a
anymore.
thing.
When I grew up, that's all it was. It wasn't structured, playing games and practicing.
Uniforms.
Not even just basketball. You remember seeing baseball fields? You see football fields?
Me and Stevie used to, every single day in the summer, we would ride our bikes to the McMinn fields.
Yeah.
And we would whoever was at the fields, we'd get a pickup game. It might have been 4 on 4. It could have been 10 on 10 some days.
Yeah, hit the ball.
Basketball, football, baseball, doesn't matter. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Every field was taken.
We found the empty lots in a neighborhood where we could play football.
Any space you could find.
And we played tackle and we killed each other.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Killed each other with no pads.
Nothing.
And never even considered having it.
Yep.
Right.
And just crushed each other. Now it's oh my God, you get a concussion if you
Oh man.
if you trip in a parking lot. It's
you have to worry about somebody suing your face.
It's
right. Yeah.
It's
Can you imagine going into an empty lot right now and who would come out, some homeowners association or the neighbor and who are you kids? Why are you, you know what I mean? Because no one wants to get sued.
We've talked about this before too. It's the difference. We actually interviewed his dad and we're it's just the difference of seeing kids out on the street.
Yeah.
I remember riding my bike to his house and going down 306 and I was by myself. I'm 12 years old and no one even batted an eye.
Right.
Yeah.
Now until you see kids you don't see kids anywhere.
Yeah. They just don't. It's
you got to bring it back.
Yeah. It is because the kids need it. They don't need structure, right?
Right.
The kids need to play.
They need to play.
Still play.
Yeah.
That's kind of my youngest, Palmer. He's kind of an old school. He just wants to go play.
Right.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, he'll play anything. It doesn't even matter. He just wants to play with kids. And he doesn't want adults telling him what to do.
Right.
And that's really what it is. Kids, there's so much structure in the world for these kids now. And it's let them just go in the backyard and play football and let them organize their own games.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if they're organizing it and they're coming up with their own set of rules or whatever, I wonder how that's going to affect the next crop of, I'm a big leadership guy. So if kids are always being told,
there's no leaders.
no one's going to develop that on their own.
Yeah. And it just is what it is. It's things will happen that'll teach them later in life. You know what they're going to do? They're going to get in fights. Great.
Yeah.
You know
all
what?
did.
You got to get into fights.
Right.
That's how you figure out, number one.
Things are going to go wrong.
It's how you start making decisions on, all right, I'm going to get my ass kicked by this guy. I'm not going to pick, so you got to start making these decisions.
Right.
I still see these decisions now because I go to the bar with Paul, and I see those decisions being made.
Say something, nerd.
Markell, but in general, those are all gone now. Because kids don't fight anymore because they don't play. They don't have any competition.
Right.
And speaking of Paul, too, and fighting and being kids and playing outside, we used to play wiffle ball in his neighbor's backyard. And
oh, yeah.
You want to talk about some fights.
Oh, yeah.
But it's great, right?
Yeah. It was the best.
Some of my best memories are that, just going out there and playing. And I was just home for Thanksgiving, and I saw a guy that was about 5 years older than us, and he used to just beat us to death in the backyard all the time and play and stuff. And he literally was like reciting like individual things that happened. Dude, this was 40 years ago. And he remembers it. Yeah. He was the varsity basketball coach of this team where we went to watch over the holidays. I'm sitting there thinking, God, how do you remember that? I can't remember what happened yesterday. But those are fond memories.
That's true, though. And I get that because I can relate to that. I think about like our childhood and the type of stuff we used to get into. I remember all those stupid little things of just the trouble we got into. Like,
when we had Huber on, we were talking about baseball games. We knew exactly what team we were playing, what field we were playing on, and exactly what happened. All that stuff.
Those are great memories. Those are the best memories. Like those summers. I mean, shit. Even in the winter, we used to have pickup football games in the snow.
Oh yeah,
like 3 feet of snow. We're out there just kicking each other's asses.
Yeah. Couldn't wait. If it snowed, that was perfect. That's a great football field.
It's awesome. We're padding for you.
It's definitely changed a lot.
Oh, for sure.
And it's
probably not interesting.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, because I feel like everyone always tends to think that change is negative. Mm-hmm. I guess time will tell.
Yeah. We won't know.
And how it will change. Right. You know what I mean?
You're right.
We don't know, but like from our point of view, what we know.
Our parents were bitching about how we did it.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
We didn't.
It's
they had to walk 5 miles to get to those games we were talking about. Right. We had a ride, so it was like
exactly.
It definitely it changes for sure. As you go through, and
no one likes change, and it's like you like it the way that you had it as a kid.
This just seems like a very dramatic one because kids went from.
Well, it's so noticeable.
You guys are going to see it, dude, because your kids are young. You're
for sure.
Kids are hard to get outside now.
Yeah.
They're stuck on their phone and they're stuck on electronics and it's like it's not like a couple of them, it's all of them.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
It is a very noticeable thing. Yeah. Like, we said, when's the last time you saw kids playing backup or, basketball on the blacktop, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So, and the technology is there and it's everywhere and you can get it for cheap and it's like everything for every age.
Right.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, you know what I bought my son for Christmas? Lincoln Logs.
You better hope he doesn't listen to this show. He's going to know what he got for Christmas.
Shit. Trust me, he doesn't know what Lincoln Logs.
All right, good.
When he gets him, he'll be like, what the hell is this? Where's my tablet? No, he likes his blocks right now. I'm just going to take advantage while I can.
Good.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
It's very good learning for him.
So, we go. Jimmy, you mentioned that you did the epised with Freddie Kitchens.
I did. Yeah. Yep.
You got any thoughts on the Browns right now?
Yeah,
I just thought we'd ask.
Well, you know what? I'm very fortunate in my job that I get to be around, a lot of athletes, coaches, and former athletes, right? Mm-hmm. So, with Freddie, I'm a fan. Listen, I'm a big fan. Like, he is literally, like, I had more fun playing 18 holes of golf with Freddie Kitchens than I had in a long, long time, right? He's a great dude. He's a great storyteller. And listen, you guys know this already, right? So when you're a good dude and people are playing for you, you want to play for them.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? There's no way that 52 guys on that football team don't like Freddie.
Yeah. Right.
He's just a good dude, and you want to play for him. Now, can I talk to Freddie's football IQ? I mean, I can talk to it in a way that the dude was Mr. Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Started for 3 years at quarterback at Alabama, which doesn't happen.
Sure.
That's like Kenny Stabler stuff
right
there. Has been in multiple things through the NFL. And so for me, I look at it and say, I don't look at it as a Freddie Kitchens problem. I look at it as it's an organization
culture
problem
yes.
because it doesn't matter what coach we've plugged in there. I got news for you. Hugh Jackson, I know everybody bashed him, blah, blah, blah. I'm a Raider fan, so I grew up a Raider fan.
Okay.
I grew up on a back road. I say a development, but it wasn't. It's a back road, right? So I grew up on a back road where everybody were Raider fans. I grew up in Steubenville, Ohio, which a lot of Steeler fans down there, and some Browns fans because we're in Ohio. So for some reason, this back road, they were all Raiders fans. I got on a bus when I was literally in kindergarten, and like they basically said, if you don't like the Raiders, we're gonna beat the shit out of you. So I'm like, I'm a Raider fan. I'm a Raider fan. This was back when the Raiders were Kenny State,
right.
So 70s, So when I see Freddie, I see a guy that I feel like that the players like for sure. Again, I don't know his football IQ, but I think that every good thing gets. Oh, what I was going to say, Hugh Jackson, Raiders. Yeah. He was 8-8 with the Raiders the year that he got fired, and he went to the Browns. The guy knows football.
Sure.
The Raiders didn't even have a lot of talent the year he went 8-8. So
that was the guy we wanted to.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted Hugh.
Yeah. So listen. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh my God, Hugh Jackson's the worst coach in the history of the NFL. Well, guess what? Maybe it's the organization that's not the coach, right? Come on, dude. I mean, let's talk about what we got on. Then you throw Freddie into a situation where he has probably the largest egos in the NFL. When you had Odell, Baker Mayfield, right, and the type of egos that you had on that football team, to be able to get them to gel all of a sudden in the first 8 weeks of a season, not going to be very easy, you know? Not going to be very, and then they run into like the headaches that they have. So for me, like watching just this past week, and I know this is tape, sorry, because it might be 2 weeks later or whatever, but Demarius Randall, you know, if Freddie was a pushover, Demarius Randall would have played in Pittsburgh.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
So he's not a pushover.
No, he's definitely not a pushover.
So I think it's one of those things that things didn't go the right way this year. I truly think that it's a big mistake by the Cleveland Browns to let him go, because now we're starting all over again.
We're doing it all over again.
Well, here's the thing.
It's like, and I will tell you, and listen, I don't know. I get to know a lot of the athletes in Cleveland, right? I don't know Baker. I don't know him at all. I shook his hand at the Cleveland Browns golf outing. I played with Kareem Hunt, by the way. That dude is solid, right?
Yeah.
Solid dude. I got a great story about him later, but he's a solid dude. But Freddie, Baker, you know, he's very Mitch Trubisky, right?
Yeah.
Mitch was struggling this year, right? Playing bad. If you watch him the last 3 weeks, he took off and ran the football a little bit, which opened the field up. It made the linebackers come up because they're all afraid he's going to take off.
Good point about the running.
Baker won't run.
Baker doesn't run.
I think he got a little fat. I'm not going to lie.
No, he definitely got out of shape. He was too busy eating.
He got married.
Hey, we're not going there. But it's you know, it's like a whole thing where it's like, you know, he's right. Like
he doesn't run.
And he's fat.
Well, he doesn't run, and he also
Chubby,
says, "I don't run."
He won't take off. Well, guess what? All good players run the football, or all good quarterbacks in the NFL can run the football a little bit. I got news for you. Tom Brady can step up and get 10 when he needs to. Right? Like, the dude's older than me. He can step up and run the football. You got to be able to do it. Baker's not doing it right now.
You're right.
And he's not bringing those running. He's not. And then they're blaming everybody else. So my story with the Browns is I really hope Freddie gets another year, because I think it could come together. I do think Baker's a good enough quarterback to play in this league. Sure. But I just think they've lost their way.
Yeah, I hope they give him another year too. I mean, I remember when it was, well, we're gonna, you know, is it gonna be Greg Williams? Is it gonna be Freddie and this and that? And we all said, and like on the radio and everything else was, look, it's probably a year too early for Freddie. But here's the thing: he coached himself into a position. Yeah. And what are you gonna? You can't blame the guy for playing his cards.
He earned it.
You know, he earned it.
He earned it.
Give him a chance.
I can't agree with you anymore.
Yeah.
I can't. And I will tell you guys, and listen, everybody has hindsight. Everybody tells you how they said this years before. Yeah. So I was at the ACC championship 2 years ago, and Lamar Jackson won the ACC Player of the Year, right? Mm-hmm. So that was the year, because the whole bathroom controversy where they moved.
Yeah, I remember that.
They moved it to Charlotte instead of Orlando, or maybe vice versa. I don't know, but we were there. So we're in this little room. Guys, I'm not lying to you. It wasn't much bigger than this, right? And they're giving out the ACC awards. And he wins Player of the Year. And he's like standing there by himself. I'm like, dude, I'm going to go hang out with this guy, right? So I go over, I'm hanging out. I hung out with him for an hour. And like, just, you know, he wasn't drinking, obviously. He's in college. But he just hung out. We talked a little bit or whatever. And I'm like, man, this kid's pretty sharp. Like, he's got this weird kind of dry sense of humor. He's pretty sharp. So I'm like, when the Browns draft came along that time, I'm like, oh, God, we could draft Saquon and get Lamar around 30. And I think this kid's pretty good. Like, I think he's got a better head than they have. How would it have been good if that happened?
Oh, amazing.
I mean, not to
You're right, though.
Right.
You're right, though.
How about that? How would you like to have Lamar and Saquon right now?
It'd
be amazing.
Although I do love Chubb. Like, Nick Chubb's solid.
Kid's solid.
Rock star.
But yeah.
The kid's amazing.
Lamar Jackson right now looks
amazing.
They were doing an argument on the radio the other day about who was a better athlete, Lamar Jackson or Michael Vick. And it was hilarious to me. There was guys that were calling it was like, oh, Mike Vick was, the best athlete and this and that. And like, if you look at the numbers that they put up, they're not even close. Like, Lamar blows them out of the water.
Well, everybody's better once they're gone for like 10 or 15 years.
That's true, too, because you can't compare.
But here's the thing is, Vick was playing in the era, well, I mean, they were running a little bit, but he was like the first guy to do it.
Yeah. I was a golf pro in Pinehurst. Mm-hmm. If you go to like Pinehurst, 20 years after I left, and you like go to like the old starters and the golf pros there, I was like Goliath now. I hit it 420 yards, I was standing up. I had some buddies call me from Pinehurst. They're like, dude, we played Mid Pines, and this starter, Oliver, said that we were on number 1, and the hole's 420 yards, and he said, you're the only guy he's ever seen that drove it in the green side bunker at 420. I'm like, dude, I never hit it in that bunker. It's a great story.
You got to roll with it.
You're telling to keep telling it.
Yeah, right.
Damn right I did.
But I never hit in that bunker, not one time, ever in my life. I would remember if I hit it.
Legendary.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
See, it's true though.
You're right though. That's how the stories grow and everything else. So that's true.
And then you mentioned Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So Kareem, I played in the Browns outing with him last year, right? And so didn't know what to expect. And we get there, we get on the first hole, and I didn't get to talk to him before we hit on the first hole. And he hits it like far, but he hits it a little right, but he rips it, right? So we play like 5 holes. We're with the guys from Universal Windows. We're having a good time. So I play in a million charity outings, right? So most of the time, the celebrities over there, they're on their phone, they're texting, they're really not paying attention. They'll give you a little love and they'll come over. Dude, Kareem was completely engaged the whole time. Talking to the guys, telling stories, laughing it up, slapping 5 or whatever, like rooting for the team to do better, right? I'm like, man, this is pretty cool, right? So we get on like the 5th hole, and I go, hey, dude, I go, how much golf do you play? He goes, this is the first time I've ever been on a golf course. I'm like, dude, because he's ripping it, right? I'm like, there is no way this dude's that good of an athlete. People don't pick a golf club
right,
up
yeah,
and just like, I'm not telling you that he looked like Tiger, but he was getting it off the ground, and it was solid, and it was going a little crooked, but it was going, right? So
I'm dying for a little crooked, but it's going
right. So he tells me the story when he was in Kansas City. He lived downtown, and right downtown Kansas City, they have Top Golf. You guys know Top Golf?
Yeah.
So they had great food. So he said I would go there for lunch and get lunch and eat, and then I was bored because all the other players were married and whatever. Yeah. And I would just like go hit balls and goof off. He goes, so I taught myself how to play golf at Top Golf, like during the days, because I didn't have anything to do. How good of a story is that, right?
That's awesome.
Isn't that a great story?
That's awesome.
And he can hit it. Kareem can rip the golf ball, man. And he was fun. So we had a great day that day.
That's cool.
Yeah, we really had he was fun. He was really fun.
Yeah, he's a local guy, and it's like, it's cool to see it.
Great story.
Yeah, he's solid too, man.
Yeah.
I love watching him play.
Him and Trubisky used to play on like the same flag football team. How funny!
Yeah,
can you imagine those two playing? If they played at Menor together, like those two.
I know.
I mean,
he was only a few miles separated, or he would have.
I think that he did, like you said though, like he played on the same flag football team. I think Kareem was in Menor at one point, but
he was in Menor. Yeah. You guys think Paul was whining because you kicked him off the podcast? Well, now he bet the Buckeyes and they're getting beat. So
oh no!
God, I know this is a
it's like it literally could not. Like, and I have to hang out with him the rest of the night. Like, you guys are gonna clean up and go home. I gotta go hang out with him. It's gonna be like, God.
No,
he'll be all right.
Only the first half so far, so hopefully he'll be all right. It could work out for him. We'll see.
Yeah, they better. All right, so golf. Steve and I, we are going to Scottsdale in end of January for the Waste Management Open.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
we're pretty excited about it.
So you've never been?
I've been the last 2 years I've gone, but I've gone kind of by myself and kind of like not partying as much as I know that it can happen. We got a little group going now this year, and I'm really, really excited about it.
Like, I can't even honestly, I can't even tell you. Like, it's like, because however I describe it, you're going to have these expectations, and it's crazier than the expectations. I'm just telling you. So Natalie and I went and shot a show there during the tournament 2 years ago. Right?
Okay.
2 years? Yeah, 2 years ago. So we start out on 16 to par 3,
right.
the famous par 3. It was so loud and so obnoxious, we had to move because we couldn't get anything on camera. People were swearing, and and we can't have like F-bombs on there, you know.
Yeah.
So we're like, all right, let's go back to 15. So we walk the whole camera crew up, right, and we go to 15, right. And so as it was during the pro-am. So as the guys come through,
Wednesday?
Wednesday, Tuesday or Wednesday. So as the guys come through, we shoot a little piece with them and we yuck it up and we do whatever, right, and just get them on there. So we have like Phil comes on with us. He was great. Mark Wahlberg comes on with us. Chase Rice, the country singer. And God, there was another famous country singers on there, and they think they're funny. They do like promos for us, and they're like, hey, I watched Jimmy and Natalie on 18 holes, and they're like, mostly for Natalie, you know. And who else was it? Ricky Fowler came on with us and did some stuff with us. It was great. Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps' wife was carrying her baby down, and it was. So we had all the usual suspects, and they were great. They were a lot of fun to have on the show. So, but then like at the end, so we shoot all day, right? And at the end of the night, we're walking, back to the clubhouse because our camera guys had to carry their cameras. We didn't have any carts or anything. We weren't allowed to have them. Dude, there's like drunk girls laying on a cart path, like just laying there with a drink in their hand. And like this is before the concert starts tonight. Like they have concerts every night.
Wow.
Like dude, it is the big. Well, I think it's 200,000 people a day.
I think last year they averaged 250.
Yeah. A day. And I would say if there's 250,000 people there that day, 10,000 care whether a golf tournament's even going on.
Yeah, right.
It's just a massive party on 300 acres, and there's guys in the middle playing low golf.
Yeah. I remember walking down from like the hotel. There's like a main drag up into TPC Scottsdale, and there's just like tour buses with kids at 7 o'clock in the morning just stumbling out of the tour bus. I'm like, where are they coming from? They're all coming from the colleges,
Yeah.
But it's
crazy. You guys are gonna have so much fun. It's just, but it's just the whole atmosphere. Scottsdale's great.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
I'll go out there 2-3 times this winter to do stuff for the TV, and it's just a great area. Spring training, if you guys have never been there, it is awesome. Yeah. I mean, it's just so.
I went
fun.
last year.
You did, and it's like, it's so great. I haven't took my boy Palmer out there yet, and I'm just gonna kick myself for not doing it because. But they have school and stuff.
Yeah, that's tough.
It's hard to do. Tito was like, dude, bring Palmer down in a dugout, and just he can hang out or whatever. And it's like, but it's funny. These kids, like, getting back to the dad thing, like, they don't really. I don't know. Maybe it's my kid because he's fortunate enough to be around it a little bit. They don't really care that much. Like, it's cool, like for a couple minutes, and then it's like, whatever. Like, so my son. We got to be I got to be good friends with Luke Carlin. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Luke. He used to play catcher for the Indians, and he's the manager of the Lake County Captains now. So Luke's like, dude, bring Palmer down every day if you want. Drop him off. He can hang, as long as he's okay with it. He's going to hear some swear words and stuff. Drop him off in the clubhouse. He can hang out. He can use the cages. He can pitch. He can do whatever and just hang out. Team, one rule, he said. I go, what's that? I go, you're not allowed to be there. Like, dads aren't hanging out. Like, if you want to drop your boy off, he could do whatever, right?
That's awesome.
Palmer's like, I don't know, Dad. I mean, he does like once a year or twice a year. Like, he could go every game. And it's like these kids, you know why? Because they're so in touch with these athletes already because they see them on Instagram.
I know, you can see them anywhere. You can see them anywhere.
They know what they're saying. They know what they're talking. It's like they feel like they know them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's true, though. I mean, I didn't think about it like that. Because, I mean, like we talked before. I remember going home at the end of the night and watching ESPN because that's the only place you're getting your sports, right? So you're watching Web Gems and all that stuff. All summer long. I'm watching SportsCenter. Till like 2 a.m.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's the only.
Read the paper.
Yeah,
Sports Illustrated magazines,
the stats section. Yeah.
I gotta think about what. There's a restaurant you guys should go to in Scottsdale. It's an old church. It's in Old Scottsdale. Gosh, Ashley.
Like in Old Town.
Ashley would know right now in Old Town. Man, it is oh my gosh, it is so good. It is off. I'll text it to you.
Let us know because I mean we're trying to put a plan together. So
if I text Ash right now, she would know. But it's we go there every year, And it's an old church. It used to be an old church.
Really?
The food is so good. That Old Town Scottsdale.
Oh, it's awesome.
It'll be hopping during that time, you guys.
Oh yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
What's the dates? You know the date?
It's I'm
The
think
last
I'm going
weekend
on,
in January.
yeah,
because it's Super
January
Bowl weekend.
28th through like February 5th or something like that.
Just trying to think if I'm there at that time.
Come on
It's
out.
close. It's close. Like
Paul,
that.
you want to go?
I already got my dude. He's crabby. He's an idiot. Hey, can you pour me a drink while you're doing nothing over there? Give me some ice.
Yeah, and now the game's off.
Can you give me some ice? Pour me some drink.
It's halftime.
Right?
Oh,
Come on,
man.
dude. You're useless. Same thing I had before.
Ice is in the freezer.
Come on, barkeep. Go ahead. You're okay.
You're okay.
You're okay.
You good?
Trust me, we've had some people. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fine. We get up for pee
Give a little
breaks.
hello. I mean, listen, we've been talking about you the whole show, so you get right there.
It's right here.
Come on.
Come on, barkeep.
Look at that hand. He could be a hand model. Look at that thing. It's beautiful.
Paul Markell, everybody.
Well,
there you go.
Hey-o. Well, while Paul's
Good job.
while
sorry.
Paul's pouring you a drink, one of the spots that we like to do is we like to try and pull a proud dad moment out.
Okay.
So what we like to say is it can either be you're really proud of your kids for something,
Yeah.
or you're really proud of yourself for doing something that was like, oh shit, I like crushed this dad thing right now.
Yeah.
I think it's we always say it's important to kind of take a step back and think of those things. So
Well, it's definitely not me. I'm not proud of anything. My dad's side of it. Man, you know, that's a great question. From a standpoint, you know, I'll be honest with you, I'm constantly proud of my two boys, just by the way that they, and maybe they're very fortunate because they grew up at the golf course.
Yeah.
So they grew up around a lot of adults, but just the way that they handle themselves around adults is every time that, like, if they walked in right now and you guys met them for the first time, like I'm like, compared to like how I see them with other kids, like I see other kids with adults. I mean, I'm just like, man, I'm just glad that my kids, know how to be that way. And I don't even know if I've ever really taught them, or it just kind of, I don't know, or maybe my dad taught them.
I think
don't know.
kids see and they take in the
They're very
example
good.
that is set. And so I think that is a proud
Absolutely.
proud
Yeah.
dad moment for
Yeah.
yourself, because that's who they're learning from, right?
Yeah.
They're like, well, how does my dad handle himself
absolutely.
around other
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
Because they do.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paul.
You guys want a proud dad moment from me?
Yeah.
I
Paul,
do
we
like
already.
proud.
Yeah.
We had a lot of compliments for you when you were gone,
Your dad's proud of you all the time. You know that?
and so are we.
Shout out to Tom.
Yeah, Tom's the man.
So, so I think that, I mean,
That's
for
good.
me, that's what it is. I think it's just one of those things where, I'm very proud of the way that they handle themselves around, around adults.
That's good.
awesome.
That's validation that, you're not an asshole.
And the one thing is, right, and the one thing is, my kids, like, if I tell them to do something, like and you guys will see, man, do I go?
Yeah.
You're going to see this. You have to tell your kids to do things because they're not going to do it on their own, right? It just ain't going to happen. Get over it right now. If you're
Right.
a parent, you got to tell them. But if I tell my kids to take out the garbage, they don't fight with me. They just do it. Or if I tell my kids to clean up something or do something, like they just do it, which I think that I don't see that a lot in other kids.
Yeah.
Like, and my kids are they're respectful in that way. And again, I don't know if I just got lucky. Could be a lot coming from the top from my parents and my family coming down. And I have two amazing parents. I mean, my mother and father are still alive, and they're just they're great. I mean, they're really. I mean, I'm just so fortunate in having what they brought down to me. And so you just don't know. It's an interesting thing because sometimes it's out of your control. I mean, you guys. Yeah. People have no control over what their kids will end up
Listen,
doing.
I own child care centers. Trust me, I see.
Yeah.
I see the full spectrum. You know what I mean? And,
it is
you're
a
right.
reflection on the
Sometimes
parents and family.
sometimes it is a reflection. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes you
it's
don't
not,
have
right?
control.
Yeah.
And there's a
you
lot
just-
of great
yeah.
parents out there that just you never
Yeah.
know what's going to
You
happen.
just don't
Well,
know.
I see it in coaching, and you'll see it. I see parents like trying sometimes, and it just isn't happening. Right?
Yeah.
I have one kid on my team. He just doesn't listen. Like, he's immensely talented. He just doesn't listen. Right? He just doesn't have that kind of respect he should have. And I see the dad trying. Like he's telling him, and not in a jerk way. And this kid's just not getting it.
And it's true. I mean, that is true. You do see that. And like I coached at Manor High School for a while. I was a JV coach there, and I had a kid there. He had issues, and his dad is a great dad. He had other kids, and no problems. But he came to me on several occasions, and the mom. Can you talk to him and just see if you could, And I did, and I tried to get through to the kid. And he was a great kid.
Yeah.
He's had a lot of issues, and it's tough, and you never know what's going to happen, and sometimes it's luck of the draw, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you could be the best parent in the world, and you just never know.
Right.
Yeah.
That's kind of scary at the same time.
Sure, it's terrifying.
As a parent,
Yeah,
that's terrifying. So it sounds like you did a lot of right things right. So you give yourself credit.
And you get lucky too. I mean, you get lucky in a way that my kids have had my parents too that are a couple hours away, and they don't parent exactly like me. I mean, listen, my situation's very weird. I mean, I've been divorced for a long time, and my ex-wife's a flight attendant, so she's gone, and when she's gone, she's gone.
Yeah.
So I've literally 15, 17 days out of the month. I mean, my kids it's just me and my 2 boys, right?
Yeah.
And, I can't tell you that if you walked into my house that it's very traditional in that way. It's like sometimes I feel like it's just 3 guys hanging out.
Right.
We do our own thing. We get by. We do it the right way. And I help with their homework when I can. But I'll be honest with you, they're beyond me at this point.
Yeah.
Right
I
now.
know. That's one thing that scares me.
It's kind of crazy. So, but at the end of the day, we make it work, and it works for us. And I feel like they have respect for me, and
That's good.
Yeah, and I think that's a big thing. Listen, my kids will never ever get off the phone without saying I love you, Dad, or they'll never go to bed without saying I love you, Dad. They just will not do it. And if I don't say it, if I forget to say it, they'll say it over and over again until I say it. You know what I mean? So there's a mutual respect that's been built there. But I hope it lasts into when they're teenagers.
Here's what I'll tell you.
Kids are 15 and 12. It could get worse.
Well, no, yeah, for sure. But you know what though? You've pounded that into them. Is like you said, like they never get off the phone without saying I love you. So that was always the thing with my family. Like my grandparents were played a big part in my life as well.
Yeah.
My parents were great, but my grandparents were always pounding in to us manners, respectful of your elders, all that kind of stuff. So it was like the same thing. I mean, I'm 34 years old now. Every time I hang up the phone with my dad or mom, I tell them I love them every single time. So that kind of stuff will stick with them.
Yep.
So
that's good.
That's huge.
It's kind of like Paul tell me he loves me
Paul
before
tells
the nights are wet tonight.
My dad never tells me.
Actually, my dad doesn't tell me that either. My mother does, but my dad doesn't.
That's not me. Yeah.
Because I think of that age group of like that doesn't happen. My dad's 78 and they don't say that stuff.
But we did, Paul. We did. That's what we were there for.
But
Mona
that
did.
has changed a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
for sure.
It has for sure.
So
I mean, but they do. They do things to me.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't know if Tom loves Paul, but he loves me. I don't know if he loves Paul. So, your mom does love me. I used to give Paul Markell's mom golf lessons back in the day at Quail, and she got really good. It was. Can I give a Markell story?
Yeah, please.
I know we're overdoing.
I love
No,
stories.
it's fine. Everybody loves them.
So when I first met the Markell family, right? So I was an assistant pro at Quail Hollow, and I was probably 27 years old. I probably weighed 160 pounds and had hair down to here. And so I was, I had just got off the tour playing golf for a living, and I was trying to figure out what I'd do with my life. And my teaching pro said, hey, why don't you come with me to Cleveland? I just get this job at this place called Quail Hollow. I'd never been to Cleveland before in my life. I grew up in Steubenville. I'd never been to Cleveland. It's like, I'll go with you this summer. I'm going to go back out on tour, but I'll go and just play for a summer and see what I want to do, right? Well, I ended up being an assistant at Quail. I never left Cleveland after that. That's a long story. But so I met the Markells, right? So I started out, and Tom paid me to give lessons to Paul, Tiffany, and Mona, right? So I'm on the range, and I'm going to give lessons to Paul, Tiffany, and Mona, right? Paul's all into it. He's probably about 8, maybe. He's up there. He's ready. He wants to play good or whatever. Tiffany's like, screw this. I'm not getting out of the cart. I'm not doing this. This is stupid. I don't want to play golf. Oh, she was like that country club little bitch, right? And Mona was into it because she was good. I mean, she was getting better and she was good, So it eventually, like, Paul would come and he was young and we'd work with him for a few minutes, and then Mona would take up most of the time, and Tiffany would sit in a cart and complain because she had to do it, right? So Mona got better. Well, then eventually it was like Tom would be like, he started to be like, because Mona would be like, well, Jimmy said do it this way. And Jimmy said do it this way. So I go in the pro shop and Tommy like, well, Jimmy said do it this, and let's do it this way because Jimmy said we got to do it this way. And Jimmy said this, right? And think Tom had a little jealousy going on back in the day of
that's amazing.
Of the 20,
he's like, oh, I guess I'm not important anymore.
25-year-old Jimmy Hanlin. Not anymore, though. It's all over. But yeah,
but there was a time.
That's my history back with them, and they were so wonderful. I just love. We've been so
now you're
so
stuck
close
with Paul
since
forever.
Then. Yeah, I was stuck.
We
with
all
Paul.
are.
Believe me, I paid him back. He had to wipe my kids' butts later in life.
That's true.
So it was, after he came to work, and Tiffany came to work at Little Mountain with us too. So
That's right. Yeah.
So it was good. It was good.
That's
Great
awesome.
family.
All good.
Yeah.
All good. All good.
That's really cool.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
go ahead.
So I was going to say, so we have 2 segments. Well, I guess it's 3. But the last one is, and as an experienced father of a 12-year-old and a 15-year-old,
Yep.
we do what's called a dad hack.
Yep.
So if you could give us an example of one of your best dad hacks.
What's a dad hack?
So a dad hack is something that you do, like a trick that you have with your kids. It's something that works, like you said, like, maybe that's not a dad hack, but you can give an example of what you do.
So,
because Ian's is more like it could be for
so
any
mine's
age
kind of
kid.
practical.
Like
It could be,
tricking
Yeah,
kind of. So,
we do like
here's
a
what I do.
misdirection thing is what we tend to say.
My 4-year-old is he gets very intense with whatever he's doing, and so we try and make it good things. But so let's just say it's time for dinner, and he's sitting there playing with his superheroes and everything. And I said, "Gibbs, time to go to bed, or it's time to eat dinner," and he like doesn't even know I'm in the room. So finally, I'll just like yell at him and like I'm like, "Hey!" And he'll like look, and I'll be like, touch the door, go touch the front door, then go touch the couch, then spin around a circle 3 times, do 10 push-ups, do 5 jumping jacks, go touch the door again, come back here. And he'll be like, oh, this is a challenge. I'll do that. So he'll like try and do it. And then finally, like when he's done or when he thinks he's done, he'll look at me and he'll be like, all right, go get ready for dinner. Mm-hmm. So like it gets him, it's a misdirection tool to like refocus him into what I want him to do. So that's like my little hack that is working less and less. I think he's catching on.
So you got to switch it up a little bit. You got to come up with something different.
Yeah.
So that's when you need more advice.
You're a better dad than I am because I don't have anything like that. I'm gonna tell you, but I think that I mean, honestly, the hard thing with dad hacks are that my kids are smarter than I am now. You know what I mean? Like,
so maybe what worked for them when they were little?
They figured it out. I mean, it's like it is funny though. Like, I'm one of those people that I don't typically raise my voice, but if I do raise my voice, they know it's done.
Something's
right.
Because I save it. I only use it, let's say 3 times a year. You know what I mean? But if it does happen, it's time to
Listen, Jimmy, if you use it 3 times a year, you got some hacks going on somewhere because that's amazing.
Well, I really don't. I'm not a voice raising guy. Like I'm one of those things that like I'm just like. I just stay very level, and it's one of those. I was at the Steeler Browns game, right? Mm-hmm. Just this week, and Ashley and I were sitting there, and Steeler fans were getting obnoxious, whatever. And this one guy's like, "Oh man, it just sucks to be a Steeler fan right now, or a Browns fan right now in the middle of this," And Ashley is, guys know she's Italian. She just wanted to just like pound him, right? and I look at him like, yeah, it's not that bad, whatever. Whatever, dude.
You're used to it.
She just wanted to crush him, right? It's like I can stay there, like I can stay on that level, and I do it with the boys
keel,
too. Like I do it like I don't know, man. I did everything growing up, like everything, like. Just dumb, stupid stuff, right? We could do a whole show on the stupid shit that I did, right? I mean, it was like, and it's like, but you live and you learn, and maybe it's because my parents handled it so good. I thought I was smart enough. Like my senior year in college, like I figured out that I could take a student loan out, right? And I could take it out, and I'm just gonna spend it, right? Have fun, right? I'm gonna take this student loan out. My parents are gonna, I get a job after college.
Take care of it later.
But I'm a senior and I want some money, right? Or whatever, right? My dad found out in like 4 days, right? He didn't say anything. I spent the whole thing, he was right. I don't know. He tied me up against a tree. He was gonna pound me for a while, but at the end of the day, he paid it off, and and it taught me a lesson. But it was like I just feel like to me, I don't see where blowing up or getting like enraging mad I've never really seen it turn out. Fear works when it's actual fear, but when they get over it, and then they my kids don't like to go to school, and your guys you'll get that.
I know how. I mean, that's
where they don't like to go to school. Like so, then they start. The biggest challenge for me is like to figure out whether they're really sick or whether they just don't want to go to school.
Right.
Yeah.
And so my kids a couple of years ago missed so much school that like the principal's like, dude, your kid can't miss any more school. I'm like, dude, he's had a rough year and he's sick. And the principal's like, he's not sick, right? He's just you're getting owned right now, right? So then it turned into like, okay, unless you're literally throwing up, you're going to school.
Yeah.
And that's how it is now for him, So it's like, dude, Dad, I got a headache. Well, too bad. Take some aspirin. You're going to school, right? So like you learn that as a father over time.
You pick it up.
You get played a little bit. You figure out they're playing.
Sure.
You, and then you just adjust. And you know, and that's really the thing about being that way is just. But as you guys will see as father, the way just how I do in my life is I really truly feel like if you treat people good, eventually you'll get screwed sometimes because eventually people will treat you the same way. Yeah, and that's how I treat my kids. I try to like give them the respect and give them I let them hang themselves a little bit, but then I don't come down with a hammer. I just come in and I'm just like, listen, it can't happen this way. It's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. And because I've always given them the respect, they look at it and they're like, okay, Dad said don't do it, so don't do it. So I'm not saying that's the perfect parenting way because I think if I had the wrong personality of a kid, he would run me over in being that way. But I'm fortunate if I don't have that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. So to extract it, your dad hack really is to try and keep an even keel and treat your kids with the same respect that you want to be treated with. And it's kind of like, so one thing that we say all the time is what we strive to do is number one, what works for you, but number two, raise good humans. Like if every dad's or even every mom's goal was to raise a good human, like we'd be pretty great,
absolutely,
as a society. You know what I mean? And we're getting there. So that's like one of our missions is to say raise good humans. So
I'm definitely not a disciplinarian. Like I don't feel like that just being there and just pounding it into them. And it might work for some. It just doesn't work for me. Because you know what? My quality of life has to be there too. And if I'm sitting there and I'm being a disciplinarian, I'm not having fun doing that. Right. That's not what I want to do.
Yeah, it's not fun to yell.
So like some people I think enjoy that. Some people I think enjoy
I think my dad might
battling and yelling, right? But like, I always had the fear with my father of like I was afraid of my dad fought in Vietnam, played college football at Findlay, he was a steel worker, right? Mm-hmm. So he's a bad dude, right? But like he never touched me, right? My mom would beat the shit out of me, right? My mom would make me go pick the stick off the tree that she was gonna, hit me with. But like my dad, he always, and maybe that's where I got it from. Like I was always scared, but he never had to get to that point where he had to prove why I should be scared.
That's a great point. Yeah, I mean, same thing with my dad is like I knew if he got pissed off and he showed it, I knew I was in big trouble. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, he was like,
your dad.
If he did it all the time, then you'd figure out a way around.
Okay, I'd be like, all right, well, this is the same old thing again.
Just figure it out.
Grow stale. It's like
or whatever.
It's like he's gonna yell at me, and then I'm gonna go do what I was doing anyway.
See, I feel like your dad had the thing going on where you just would not want to disappoint your dad. Like I never wanted to disappoint your dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even more so than my dad, maybe. Like,
he was.
Dude, I don't want Mr. Backnick to be mad at me.
Because then he's pissed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's like, oh god. Yeah. So he was quiet about it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't know how to work that TV or what?
So I think he's battling Ian's wife.
Yeah, probably.
So I can tell. I think Hallmark's on. I can see up in there in the corner. So every time Paul presses
OK, 100% accurate.
So that's your feed.
Yeah, that's my feed.
So every time Paul's hitting OK every 3 seconds, and Chelsea's back at home doing the same thing. So they're just battling each other.
That's amazing.
Oh, dude, that's great. Dude, that even just makes my night even more. Paul's losing.
Poor Paul. We'll buy him a drink after.
A new bottle. He's good.
Oh, he's so crabby right now. Oh man, you got more time than you would if you were sitting here. We talked about you so much.
Paul, you were like the main topic of the night.
This episode's going to be titled Paul Markell.
Seriously,
it should.
With Jimmy Hanlin.
Tom, Paul, Tom, Mona, and Tiffany. That's what it should be.
We can make that happen.
Yeah. See, because I helped your golf game, right? She'd give him golf lessons. He actually wanted to do it. See, Paul wanted to play golf way more than my kids want to play golf. And at the age he was at, he just loved it. He was into it. He wanted to do it, and could have been better than he was. He just never, when he got older, got into chicks and never wanted to put any effort into it. But I didn't want to be at the golf course. Yeah. So like, But like, there's just some kids that want to do it. Like I see kids now, guys, that like. In the world of golf that are very focused at like an extremely young age, right? Such an advantage, right? I mean, to get to that level. Mm-hmm. But the key to their parents is getting them there without burning them out.
Yeah.
And golf's a big one because golf is a very individualized sport, right? I mean, if you're going to be successful at golf, like you were talking about earlier, you're probably going to have to give up everything else. There's exceptions. DJ, Gary Woodland, all very good basketball players and other athletes, but rarely do you see most of them give everything else up at about 8 or 9, and they're just all.
And that's
all
that.
golf.
Yeah.
There's a girl right now that's from Youngstown that's just crushing everybody, and she's a top-ranked amateur in the country, and she's been like since 6 or 7 years old. She's just been on a roll, and then they go to Arizona for the winter. They moved. Her family literally moved to Arizona for her to practice in the wintertime, right? This girl's 12, maybe 11. Gianna's her name, and but that's how focused. So she will make it if she doesn't burn out.
Yeah,
right. She will make it. There is no doubt in my mind, unless she has something physical that happens, she will make it. But her biggest deal is that can she not burn out before that happens?
Yeah, and that's tough, man.
Yeah.
Like, and you, like you said before, every kid is different, and so some kids are gonna enjoy that and embrace that and use that to their advantage, and there's some kids that are just going, I'm done.
Yeah, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. Yeah, it's interesting to see in my world, to see the athletes and how that happens in that world. So it's fun. It's
very cool.
Stuff. Yep, good stuff.
All right, so we never hit the button, but
I got it right now.
Oh, you got it right now?
Ready?
You got it right now? Dad hack. So we're giving you the dad hack for keeping even keel and raising good humans and treating them with the same respect that you want to be treated with. So I think that's fantastic, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, well,
that's
it
a big
for
part.
It might not work for everybody, but
it's true. And then,
but that's the point of it, though.
And
It
it's
worked
good
for
to-
you, and so if somebody else out there that maybe yells all the time tries that,
and it doesn't work,
and then oh shit, it works. It works better than me yelling all the time.
Right.
We've created
and
value.
that's what we're trying to do here, is trying to figure out, and we're learning. We haven't seen a lot yet, right? We're only 4 years old
kids
right
are
now,
both
so
4 and 2 or 3 and 2.
We're 3 and 2, 4 and 2, whatever.
Yeah.
But we're learning on the fly, and we're trying to. So talking to someone like you, and we're getting advice along with whoever's listening and learning different ways of doing things, and that's huge.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's you just got to try them all and see what works for you.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like you never know. And you know what? Here's the other thing for you: it might change. Might work.
Yeah,
that's
might
true.
work when they're 8, and it doesn't work when they're 12. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just-
For sure.
I mean, these kids they're just so smart these days.
I know.
They just figure it out. They watch so much on YouTube and all these types of things, and it's like, if I had to go back and do it all over again and had the younger kids, I think the thing that I would try my best to limit their electronics a little bit. It's really hard.
Yeah.
Because their friends are all doing it, and listen, it's free time for you. When the bubble guppies are up around the TV, you can actually go get something done for work. You know what I mean? So it takes a lot of stress off you. But I would, if I had to do it all over again, try to find a way to structure it to where I limit it a little bit and provide a little more structure from that. But it is what it is. I'm very happy with where they're at.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's a good point. I mean, because you're right, it is what it is, and we're approaching the time. I mean, I think we said this last winter. It's like winter's just tough.
Yeah.
Like they can't be outside for hours at a time. Because I know Steve does it, and we do it too. We try and get the kids outside. After work, I'll take them to the park, or we'll just go outside for a little while, and you can kill 2-3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
great. Just hard to do that in the winter.
That's why I take Palmer to the Y, and we go to the Y, and Hogan goes, and just because he's a bigger kid, so he knows he needs to get some exercise and stuff, so he'll go do the adult thing, the treadmill and stuff, which is boring as hell.
Right.
But Palmer and I go in and we shoot hoops or we do whatever. But it's like, I don't know. I mean, the Y is boring, but it's something.
Sure.
It's getting out of the house.
Something. It's physical. Yeah. Right.
I like to get out of the house.
Yeah.
I can.
Well, you can fall into the trap of just being stuck inside the house, and even if you say, "Well, we're not going to watch anything, but we'll just turn it on for background noise," and then the next thing you know, 10 minutes later, everyone's sitting there just watching.
Well, you're with
oh shit!
Yeah.
All right,
or
come
I got to go get the laundry done or something real quick. Yeah,
Right.
it's like.
Right.
But I think like he said, getting outside, in the summertime, it's like on the weekends. My wife goes to work or something on a Saturday. I'm like, let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah.
Let's go grab breakfast. Let's go to a park. Let's just go run around for a while and just try to do something.
Yeah, to get outside. Yeah, it's tough. Living here, it's tough.
It
You're
is.
right. Yeah, it is.
I mean, I'm fortunate that in the wintertime that I travel a lot,
Yeah, you get to
so I
travel.
get away from this and stuff. But that's tougher with the kids too. You know what I mean? But I was very fortunate in a way when I got divorced and, having an ex-wife that was a flight attendant, she was gone all the time anyway. So my kids were always used to one adult being in the house.
Yeah.
Because I traveled, she traveled, and then we got divorced. It was really the same. It was just in two separate houses, Mm-hmm. So it's you get into that mode of what it is. And my kids are very used to only really having one parent there, all the time.
Sure.
And it works out good, but you have to change the way that you structure it and you parent and stuff like that. And it's you guys will see, because you'll have one-on-one time that you got to figure out how to make that work and split it up. And even though you may like to do more of what the one kid wants to do, you figure it out.
Yeah, sure.
And that's the reassuring thing too, is that we've heard from a lot of guys is like you'll figure it out. Like
you'll screw it up.
Yeah.
And then you'll do it right.
And then you'll learn.
And then you'll screw it up the next day and you do it right.
And I think ultimately the big thing is not everything works for you at the time, and it's like, don't give up.
Yeah.
As a parent, and just be like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Try something different and try to make it work and see what works for your kid, and that's.
Well, one of the coolest things for me, I would say, again, I was telling you guys earlier about how like the athletes that I get to be around, and that's the one like little fraternity of like, that's like one of the first things that someone asks, hey, you got any kids? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And you talk about your kids, and you see the pride in like, whether it be Tito talking about his kids, Mike Hargrove, talking about his kids, being with all them, Freddie. Obviously, the one girl gave him the shirt that got him into trouble.
Yeah.
Like everybody likes to talk about their kids, no matter how high.
100%.
Great.
Yeah.
LeBron loves to talk about his kids.
Right. Yep,
And he loves that little girl as more as he does Bronny. That's probably going to play in the NBA.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's a connection there that people like. Talk about their kids. It's not always bragging about their kids. It's just like, hey, how many kids you got? I got 3, and this is what they do. It's a fun little.
Well, it's the great equalizer among men. It doesn't matter if you work at Walmart or you're a professional athlete or you do whatever. It doesn't matter what you do. Yeah. If you have a child, like you've done something that is bigger than yourself, right? And so like you can talk about that, and that's wonderful.
Right.
Yeah. I'll give you a good one there. So you guys ever hear Bronson Arroyo?
Yeah.
So Bronson Arroyo, I don't know if he won the MVP, but he won a World Series with the Red Sox.
Right.
Played for Tito back then, and with the Reds for a really long time. So Bronson's become a friend of mine. We did a show together. And so, dude, you want to talk about the life, right? So this dude played in major leagues for, number one, he's a good-looking dude. Played in the major leagues for 17 years. So he did the whole Major League Baseball team for 17 years.
Yeah.
Now he's a rock star. Like he started a band. He's opening up in Cincinnati for Darius Rucker here in about 3 months or something. Like he's a rock star band guy. So he went from baseball to rock star. Right?
Amazing.
I mean, dude, the ultimate. And I'm like, dude, what do you like? Do you even have? He goes, I don't even. He goes like, I got a place, but I never stay there. I just bounce around, go see all my friends across the country and jam and play. And he texted me the other day. He's like, yeah, it's like 10 degrees in New England. I got to do 2 shows in a row in Boston, but they love me here, but whatever. But I did talk to him as we were shooting the show, and he's like, yeah, he goes, I love this. This is great. He goes, but I do got to figure out, like, I want to, he wants to have kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know if he wants a wife. But he wants to have kids, he that's his one thing that's a little bit missing. I think BA's like 42 probably. So he's like 42 years old. He's like, he did say it. He's like, I do want kids at some point. But he just wants to figure it out. But and that dude has the ultimate single dude's life.
Right.
Seriously.
Right? I mean, the ultimate, baseball, rock star.
I didn't realize he played for that long.
17 years.
That's
amazing.
Yeah, he's a great dude. He's just really good. I did a show with him and Kent Merker. I don't know if you remember Kent. So Kent was the 5th pitcher for the Braves when they had Maddox,
Glavin.
Okay. It was Maddox, Glavin, Smoltz.
What was a? Oh man.
Was Maddox, Glavin, Smoltz?
I can't think of the guy's name. Waller or like God, what the heck was?
No. Anyway, long story short, he was the 5th one. It's funny because he had the only no-hitter of the 5 of them in that whole world.
Oh, no shit.
And Merker actually pitched. He was from Dublin. He pitched for the Indians, pitched for the Reds, but he pitched for the Braves back in those days, too.
That pitching staff was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, we know.
Yeah, we know.
As Indians fans.
Yeah.
And the Indians players on that team, they bitch so much about that. They're like, that strike zone was
strike zone, yeah.
ridiculous.
Right,
Kenny
right.
Lofton, he just will never stop talking about it.
Yeah. It's funny.
Rightfully so. Rightfully
that sucked.
so. That was the worst.
Yeah. That's Cleveland. That's Cleveland. Yeah. That is just the most Cleveland thing that could happen.
There you go.
Like the rain delay in Game 7. And,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, can you turn that?
Oh, Jesus.
That means,
Who's talking?
that means our screensaver's done. Jimmy, before we end, what do you got going on? What's cool that's coming up? Anything that you want to plug? Kind of your show for a few minutes.
I mean, it's kind of the same stuff that I've had going on. I have my shows on Fox Sports. We do every season. We tape them starting in January. They go on the air in May. And so we'll start traveling around the country. I do the show with Natalie and Holly Saunders, and then I do some instructional stuff, and then I do the links to the game. Our goal this year, we do want to do one with the Cavs this year. We haven't done a Cavs links to the game, believe it or not. So we'll do it with Austin Carr. I've been teaching Austin Carr for years, and then we'll try to find a couple Cavs to do one with. And so that's fun. I mean, that's all. And I own the production company that does that. I partner with Fox.
Oh, really?
And we do it together. So that's a big job for me because we do all the sales and the sponsorships and everything. So that's a big deal. So I'll do that. The 2 golf courses, I spend a lot of time at all year long. I have a new project in Westlake, Ohio right now. I'm working with the city of Westlake, and we're designing a new golf course there for them and a new practice facility and stuff like that. And so currently right now I'm a consultant for the city of Westlake, and then eventually I'll probably operate the golf course for them. So I have a subsidiary company called Hanlin Golf, so we'll do that also. So, I always got a lot. And then I love doing the radio every Sunday morning. It's funny. I've been doing radio. This will be my 19th year in radio doing that. Yeah. So I was with ESPN Cleveland for about 17 years, and then I made the jump over to WTAM a couple of years ago, and have great relationships. Still good friends of mine over at ESPN Radio, and Tony Rizzo's a great friend of mine, and the whole crew over there is really good. And now I'm over there with TAM and the whole, Bill Wills and Triv and all them, and they're great too. Love working for them. They let me do my thing.
That's cool.
You guys are doing. They just 2 hours, and I just like you guys hit the button and start talking, and whatever comes up that day is what we're talking about.
Awesome.
And it's a lot of fun, and so I'm very fortunate, man. I mean, guys, like I grew up in Steubenville, Ohio. Like my dad was a steelworker. My mom was a nurse. We lived fine. I'm not going to tell you I was poor and didn't have anything to eat. Like, we lived fine. We were just typical middle-class people, and I had great parents. But, like, now, I travel the country and go to the greatest resorts in the world and do a TV show with 2 of the most popular girls in the history of golf, and Holly and Natalie. And I get to give instruction to people. I actually have an app coming out right now that's pretty cool. It's called Golfers U. And so if you guys download the app.
For sure.
So if you download the app and it depends on what subscription you buy, you put in, you go, hey, Jimmy, I'm chunking it. It'll show you like 3 videos of how to stop chunking it, or slicing it. Here's some videos. And then you can actually video your
They have an all-in plan?
Yes. Yeah,
That's what we need. The 2 of us need it.
You video yourself from the front and from the side, and you send it to me within 72 hours. I send you a video back and say, dude, you need to do this, you need to do this. So that's a lot of fun.
That's
cool.
That's awesome.
Right? So I had people approach me to do that. So, life's good in my world. Like, a lot of things, everything's coming my way. And my biggest thing is why we're sitting here. My biggest thing is learning how to, mesh that all together with everything else that goes on in my life with my boys, and making sure I'm trying to be there for them when it's the right time to be there for them, and just doing what I do. Trying to spend enough time with Paul, so he's
always gotta.
Well, you have to. Yeah, you have to make sure that he's okay.
Whatever.
Right.
We play in our
another one of your kids. So you have 3 kids.
We play in our one. Yeah, you have 3. Yeah, for sure. So, only one I'm allowed to beat.
That's true.
Actually, Ashley just beats him. I don't even have to. She just beats him for me.
That's good.
But it's it's really good. I mean,
that's good, man. That's wonderful to hear. Life is good.
It is good. It's it's great. It's kind of funny because, like, in my world of television, like if I go out tonight, like, people don't know that I live in, like, Northeast Ohio, and they're like,
they would have no.
Dude, Jimmy Hanlin, what are you doing here, right? Like, they think I'm from, like, California. I'm like, dude, I live right here.
On the road.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right?
It's funny. We saw you opening day Browns game.
Yeah.
You came over, and we were all tailgating, and you showed up and everything. And I don't know, Steve, if you caught this, but Arco's dad was over there hanging out with us, and like Arco's dad is like he loves golf. He loves golf so much. Yeah. And he came up to us and he's like, "Hey, do you guys know him?" And we're like, yeah, we know Jimmy a little bit, like, this and that. And he's like, "I wonder if I can go ask him for a picture." Yeah. And like Eric was like so embarrassed or whatever. And I'm like, "Dude, go get a picture with him."
I mean, but seriously, think about that. Like, that is the biggest compliment ever.
I can't imagine.
I know people are so like, they're so afraid to do it. And it's the biggest compliment. I mean, what's a picture with me, right? I mean, it's,
right.
Believe me, because we go out in the whole world of golf.
This kid's face over here.
And who they, right? Like, listen, I spend my time when I'm shooting the show, and it's with Natalie and Holly. There ain't nobody coming to me, right?
Right.
But when we come to Cleveland, it's kind of my world,
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been on air for a dozen years here, so it's a little different.
Right.
Oh, it's awesome.
But it is funny. Listen, it is a blessing. It's so great. It's funny, but it is the world. It's funny you talk about his dad. It's like, if you're in the golf world, like if I go to a public golf course, like, dude, you would think I was Tiger, right? Like, it is the world. But like, let's say like Ashley and I go to an Indians game, like, she's in baseball, she's on Drennan Live, like, so like everybody knows who she is. And it's like, who the hell is this guy, right? It just depends on what world you're in.
Absolutely.
Right?
That's fair. Yeah.
Like, after 11 o'clock at downtown Willoughby, average age is 26. No one has a damn clue who I am, right? But if you go to a bar where average age is 44, I'm the guy.
Right.
So
gotta know where to operate. Gotta know where to operate.
Sometimes I would rather be in one or the other. Like, sometimes, but it's all good. I'm very fortunate. It's beyond fortunate. It's so life is so good right now. And
That's awesome.
It's fun, and you just. Get to meet guys like you and guys like him. It's like, spend time.
Well, it's huge for us too to have you on here.
I appreciate it.
And and it's cool because you are, you're from this area. You live around here, and it's like to see you out in public, like at a local bar or something, like that's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah.
People
are just hanging out around people like us, like that's pretty awesome. So
I'm just a Steubenville hillbilly, man.
That's it.
And look at you.
That's awesome.
There's nobody likes hanging out at a bar more than I do. I can tell you.
Well, it's cool that you appreciate it too, though. Like it's very, very apparent that like you understand like the opportunities that have been in front of you. You've taken advantage of your opportunities, and you've done well for yourself. So kudos to that. And I've never met your boys, but sounds like they're pretty great too.
When you see them, you'll know they're my boys.
Yeah.
Redhead, and they are. Every person that sees them, they're like,
that's
it. For sure. One of them might be Paul's, but
I think we all say that. So.
Yeah, we all think it sometimes with our kids. There's always at least one day a week where I think that.
For sure. Yeah, good.
Very cool, Jimmy. Well, I appreciate it so much you coming on,
awesome.
hanging out.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll do it again
me.
sometime,
Absolutely.
and we'll see you around and everything else like that.
I got your next guest. Don't forget Ricky Stanley.
Yeah, hook us up.
Hook us up. Yeah, man.
Hook us up. That's actually one of our exit interview type things that we do afterwards. We always say who else should be on the show, because we've been very fortunate in doing this thing. Like, we've been doing this almost a year now.
Yeah.
We never thought that we would continue doing it, but it's gotten a little bit of traction, and we've never had to really solicit. We just kind of talk to people, and we're like, "Oh, you should totally have so and so."
I saw Adam Sandin, and I almost canceled after I saw Adam.
So you know Adam? Yeah.
You want to hear a funny story? Adam was one of those little tykes at Quail Hollow when Paul was there.
So that makes sense. Yeah.
All these guys that are in their mid 30s were all like little little country club kids running around Quail Hollow back in the day.
Adam's a good dude.
Yeah, they're about the same age. Those guys are about the same age, and they're Adam's great. He's wildly successful, and it's nice
he
to
does a
run
great
into him
job.
every once in a while.
He does a lot in the community, and he's awesome.
Great kid, I love him.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
Very cool. If there's nothing else, we're gonna end this, and then maybe go watch the rest of the game.
Let's do it.
Paul's
gonna have a heart attack when we go watch the rest of the game. Is it tied yet? Hallmark channel. Hallmark channel.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Hey, how was your time on Talking Dads today?
It was awesome.
Damn right.
It was long and hard.
That's what she said.
Thank you, Paul.
Good
that
job,
was the
Paulie.
first time tonight we used that button.
Good job, Paulie.
So, thank you. Nailed it.
All right, so
That's what she said.
it's good. So for Paul, and for Steve, and for Jimmy, thank you guys very much. Thank you guys so much. If you haven't already, please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. And then anywhere you listen to your podcast. We are on iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spotify, Google, and Apple to get all the dad knowledge and continue seeing us grow.
Yep.
Steve, you got anything?
I'm good. Watch this game.
Jimmy, anything? Any last words?
Well, thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Very cool. We will see you next time. That has been episode number 30 of the Talking Dads.
Hey guys, if you love what you just heard or watched, and we know you did, do us a solid and hit that thumbs up. Share with your friends and throw us a comment, literally about anything. Your support legit keeps us going. Oh, and don't forget to give us that 5-star rating. We really appreciate you.